Recently, I had an absolutely amazing holiday with my family in the Snowdonia National Park in northern Wales. And as well as the absolutely breathtaking scenery, I still managed to hit up a couple of CEX stores. First off, we visited Wrexham to see Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. Next up, we were looking for bangers in Bangor. And finally, we finished off our Welsh adventure in Rhyl by the seaside. This is the crazy world of CEX. Welcome to my continuing mission to visit every CEX store in the entire world. From the weird to the wonderful, the big to the small, I am here to visit them all. This is the crazy world of CEX. Hello again folks, and welcome back to the crazy world of CEX. My continuing journey to try and visit every CEX store in the entire world. And yes, I do mean the world. And this time, for the first time, we are leaving England and jumping over the border to Wales. That's because recently I went on a family holiday to the beautiful Snowdonia National Park. And of course, while I was there, it was rude not to hit up a few CEX stores. I had an absolutely amazing time in Wales, and every time I go on holiday I try and hit up a few more CEX stores. So if you do enjoy this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content for the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. And if you've ever missed a single episode of the crazy world of CEX, fear not, I'll put them all in a playlist. Here we go then, hitting the road to Wales. It's a long trip, so we better get going. Our first stop this time on the crazy world of CEX is of course Wrexham. And no trip to Wrexham will be complete without a trip to the racecourse made famous by Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds series Made in Wrexham. If you haven't checked it out, it's well worth checking out on Disney+. But of course today we are here to check out the local CEX store. And as I look in the window here, I am in shock straight away. Castlevania for the PlayStation 1 in absolutely incredible condition. Now, unfortunately, I didn't quite have the budget today to pick up Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but there is a specific PlayStation 5 game which I am on the lookout today in the crazy world of CEX because it is an absolute bargain. I cannot believe in 2023 you can get this absolute banger of a game for the PlayStation 5 for under £5. So unfortunately it wasn't here today, but this is also a real bargain. Looking around, and this is a reasonably large store. It was in the middle of town in Wrexham, and I feel like Made in Wrexham kind of gives Wrexham a bad name. This was a really nice town, but back to the game hunting. So we're going into the Wii U section, and I guess with Barbie Mania, games like Barbie's Dream House, especially for the Wii U, are going to go up in value. It is one I do need for my Wii U collection, but for 30 quid, I think I will pass. They actually had a really good selection of Wii U games in here, which is surprising because, to be honest, every Wii U section I see around the country is getting smaller and smaller because it has a very small library, and I think there is a lot of gamers who are going to be aiming to get that complete Wii U collection. If that's you, comment below. As well as an awesome Wii U selection, it may be a small original Xbox selection here, but hiding here is a game which I have been looking for CIB for absolutely ages. You may have seen in a recent episode of the Crazy World of CEX I managed to find us about a manual, but we have a manual, and this is a definite pickup for me. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is without a doubt, if not the greatest fighting game of all time. And there's some really good bangers in here, like Panzer Dragoon Orta, really good selection. The Xbox 360 section also had some secrets hiding here. Yes, there was a lot of copies of Halo and even more copies of Connected Ventures and a lot of Lego games, but hiding here at the bottom is a game you do not see very often. I think the price reflects this. Need for Speed Most Wanted on the Xbox 360. I think it's just the Xbox 360 version of this game that commands a lot, but it is a big one. And here is another Xbox 360 game you don't see every day, Superman Returns. I remember playing a demo of this one. I think it's like kind of a free roaming Superman sandbox game. I just remember fighting a giant robot in a demo and it absolutely blew me away. I did pass on that one today. It was definitely one I want to pick up in the future, as well as this game, Under Defeat HD, which is another game you don't see very often, but it does command quite a high price tag. I think this is the only way to play this game now. It was a digital exclusive and that is the only way to play it. Another one here you don't see very often. Now, it's not very often the PC section catches my eye, but out of the corner of my eye, I did see this kind of, I wouldn't say big box PC game, but a bigger box PC game. This is one of the D&D Neverwinter Nights games, and I've been looking for these, like, everywhere, and for 50p, I'm definitely going to pick this one up, and also for 50p, a PC CD-ROM game. It's getting rarer and rarer to see these in CX, but when you can pick these up for just 50p each, it's well worth it. I was tempted by The Sims, but I think it was missing the cover if it was a reprint. And here's a game, again, you do not see very often. Carrying on through this Wrexham store, as you can see, tons of DVDs. There was a fairly large PlayStation 3 selection, but sadly nothing really to write home about there. But here's something that's getting harder to see, and I can't believe I'm saying this. This is a reasonably large PlayStation Vita section. Yes, anything over 10 games now is large. Just because the store was fairly busy, I've saved the Glass Cabinet of Dreams till last this time, and some fairly nice bits in here. Pokemon Red, Legend of Zelda, some Dreamcast games, some Saturn games, even a Game Gear and some box Game Gear games, the hard-to-find Zelda game on the GameCube, and yeah, some really, really nice bits in here. Of course, I had to check out the PlayStation 1 section to see if there was any games I needed for my PlayStation Platinum project. My goal for 2023 to try and add all 160 power-release PlayStation 1 games to my collection. But again, more often than not, this is the case. There was nothing here I needed. It was absolutely gutting that Digimon wasn't the Platinum release, as that is a hard-to-find game. And onto the Xbox 360, this really nice copy of Mass Effect Trilogy, some limited edition controllers, and this copy of Deadfall, a game I've never seen before for the Xbox 360. There was some pretty nice SNES stuff here, but again, nothing really to write home about, and it's weird to see Wii U games now in the Glass Cabinet of Dreams, but I guess they're getting rare. Now, quite often, before I visit a CX store for the very first time, I will check the app to see what games they have in stock. And, spoiler alert, this store did have a game in stock for the PlayStation 2, which I've been looking for absolutely ages. Jackass the game. Yes, not the greatest game of all time, but a game I just can't seem to find. Now, it wasn't on the shelf. I asked at the counter and they had the loose disc, which sadly takes me to the presumption that someone stole the case. Heading to the counter with my purchases, I want to know, has anyone ever bought one of these CEX caps? Hiding at the back of the store, this is obviously where they're keeping their really good retro Pokemon box and Turrican, and just some amazing stuff in here. But if you did not know, some CEX stores are in fact dog friendly, even though I don't think my dog really enjoyed his visit as much as I did. So that was Wrexham, some really nice pickups for the collection, a really nice store and a really nice town. Rob McAlelly and Ryan Reynolds, you should be proud. Next up, we were off to Bangor, the oldest city in Wales, and of course hoping to find some bangers. And straight away in the window, something caught my eye. I think this is an absolute bargain. No, it is not this God of War controller, which is really, really nice, nor is it these Pokemon games, nor this Xbox One. It is this Alone in the Dark Collector's Edition for the Wii for just £6. With a new Alone in the Dark game on the horizon, this is a must pick up. Now, this is a reasonably small CEX store, but I have learned one thing from this series: we do not judge the stores by their size. Heading over, there was a reasonably sizable PS Vita selection and a pretty good OG Xbox collection here, but nothing really I needed for the collection. A lot of PC games for such a small store, which was quite a surprise. But as I said at the start of this episode, there is a certain PlayStation 5 game which I've been looking for because it's an absolute bargain. You may be able to guess what game it is now by the sections I'm checking, and unfortunately we couldn't find it here in Bangor. Having a quick breeze through the PlayStation 5 section, this was super cool. This Street Fighter 6 with this really nice lenticular cover for the same price as the standard release of the game. Here's something you don't see very often. I think this is the Amazon exclusive slipcover for Death Stranding. I may be wrong. Correct me in the comments down below. I actually really enjoyed that game. I think it gets a lot of hate. Essentially, yes, it is a walking simulator, but the graphics and the feel of that game is just an incredible game to exist within. Quite a small selection of games in this store, like PlayStation 2, 3DS and DS all crammed together, and a very, very small Wii U selection. Like I said, these sections are getting smaller. But also, like I said, we do not judge our CX stores by their size. This store in Bangor actually had an absolutely banging selection of retro. You can see we've got some really nice loose N64 games, as well as an Australian copy of the Ocarina of Time. This is one you do definitely not see every day, and this was really good to see. I grabbed a few games here, I am not sad to admit. They had a really good selection of Mega Drive and Master System games. Now, nothing too expensive here, but I have a general rule with games like this in CX. If I'm picking up Master System or Mega Drive games, they need to be boxed and complete. I did take quite a few of these to the counter because they were so cheap. I got about 50% of these boxed and complete, so I picked up some absolutely banging cheap retro in Bangor. Our final stop this time on the crazy world of CEX is the coastal town of Rhyl. And this was a really, really nice coastal town. And I have seen my fair share. And this just goes to prove that Wales is an absolutely beautiful country. From the mountains to the absolutely never-ending beaches like this, it is definitely well worth a visit. But of course, we are here to visit CX today, here in the town centre in Rhyl. And spoiler alert, I know you're all wondering, this was my dog's favourite CX we visited on this holiday for one reason, and that reason was he got some dog treats. So he had got what he wanted for his collection. Let's hope I can too. For the final time this time then, let's head over to the Glass Cabinet of Dreams and some Atari Lynx games, which you really do not see very often. I'm genuinely surprised to see this many in one place. Here's a Master System game I've never heard of before, Cybug Hunter. Now, unfortunately, this wasn't complete. It was missing the manual, as were the other Master System games here, which is a real shame. But as I said near the start of this episode, I'm only picking these games up if they are boxed and complete. Some really nice Zelda games here, some Game Boy games, a pretty good selection of retro here in the Glass Cabinet of Dreams, including some nice N64 games. But let's move on. Now, I love my Telltale games, and this is one you do not see very often in CEX. In fact, there is only 7 copies of this available in the UK CEX wide. It is a £20 game, but Xbox 360 is getting harder to collect for, so I'm going to pick that one up. And here's another game I've been meaning to pick up for a while, Blood Drive. But which one will I pick up? The one with the reprinted cover of the original cover. A really good 360 collection in this store. Now, sadly, the same couldn't be said of the PlayStation 3 selection in this store, and I think this is the way it's going for this PlayStation 3 and also the Xbox 360. I think these sections in the years to come are going to get sparser and sparser, and to be fair, just filled with the games that people trade in all the time. By people, yes, I mean me. Your Call of Duties, your Grand Theft Autos are games that still trade in for a decent amount, but that people already have in their collection. But don't lose faith. You always have to check these sections, as you never know, and there's going to be some hidden bangers in here, especially the exclusives. And the Ratchet & Clank games are a series of games I really need to fill the holes in my collection. Now, it's not very often I go through the DVD section, but this one did catch my eye, Halo Season 1. Now, I have heard nothing but bad things about this, but I like to keep an open mind. But let me know your thoughts on this series down in the comments below, and if you would pick it up in CX today for £8. If not, I can stream it. I just want to know if it's any good. For me, out of the 3 CX stores we visited this time, this store had the best Wii U section. They had basically all of the bangers for the Wii U. Now, thankfully, most of these I've picked up in the past, as a lot of these are definitely going up in price. Yes, there's still some cheap games you can pick up for the Wii U, but overall, it's a console which is going up in price, much like the GameCube years ago. Years ago, a lot of these GameCube games were a lot cheaper, but again, this is banger after banger after banger. This is an absolutely amazing GameCube section. Like nearly every game you'd need, like the top tier games, as well as some really cheap games. I was actually tempted to pick a couple of these up, but sadly a few of these were missing manuals. But it just goes to show you can still pick up some cheap bangers for the GameCube, even in 2023, even if it is getting harder to do so. I am a massive fan of collecting PlayStation VR games, and there is no better time than now, especially when I can fill holes in my collection with games like Loading Human for just £3. But take my word for it, these games are going to get a lot more collectible in years to come, as less and less people care about PlayStation VR at the moment. But I think in years to come, these are going to be priceless. Now, unfortunately, I still didn't manage to find that PlayStation 5 cheap banger I'd been looking for, but I did manage to find some Steelbooks. But you will have to stay tuned for a future episode of Steelbook Hunting in CX to see all about these. But there's one more place to look for this cheap PS5 banger. Here we are then, back in England and back to Norwich, my local CX store, and our last chance to find this cheap PS5 banger, and straight to the section. Thankfully these are all alphabetized, and there it is, folks. Back 4 Blood. This game is £4 on PlayStation 5, and regardless, I know a lot of people don't like as much as they do Left 4 Dead 2, but for £4, this is an absolute bargain. I'm so thankful I found this right at the end of this crazy world of CX. Here we are then, back in the game shop with an absolutely breathtaking trip to Wales. It surely is one of the most beautiful parts of the entire UK, and if you have not visited, I definitely recommend it. We had a few days of rain, but we had some absolutely glorious sunshine. I saw some amazing sights, and more importantly, added some amazing bits to the collection. The CEX store in Wrexham was absolutely amazing, and I managed to pick up a game there which I've been trying to get from CX for absolutely months. That's because this game is a lot cheaper in CX than it is on eBay, and this is a game which I think is going to get just more expensive in the years to come. It is one of, if not the greatest beat-em-up game of all time, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And here is the thing, with a game of this caliber, I wanted to make sure it was complete with the manual. This is in really nice condition. And as I said, comparing this to eBay prices, £30 for this absolutely beautiful beat 'em up is an absolute bargain, and one I'm so happy to add to my OG Xbox collection. One thing you're definitely seeing less and less of in CX is PC CD-ROM games. Yes, you kind of get the kind of generic shovelware, your kind of Sudokus, your puzzle games, stuff like that. But it's getting harder to find games such as Cutthroats. I've never played this game before, but I love picking up these PC CD-ROM games, and for 50p I thought this was a little bit of a bargain. And something you definitely do not see very often now in CEX, which is a real shame, is PC big box games, like the big cardboard box games. This is not a big box PC game, I'd say more a big box. This is Forgotten Realms Neverwinter Nights, and this was just 50p and is in absolutely incredible condition. And I love these kind of D&D games because it always comes with some cool bits. You can see in here we've got the map, we've got the multiple CDs, and of course we have the manual. To pick up both these PC games for just £1 is an absolute bargain. Next up, we hit up the store in Bangor, and it was full of bangers, and this is one of the things I absolutely love about CEX. You can get some absolutely fantastic condition retro, but that is the key word, condition. I managed to pick up a couple of Master System and Mega Drive games in there for dirt cheap. First off, we have Transbot. Yes, it's an incredibly common game for the Master System, but when you can pick this up for £5, and it is complete and an absolute fantastic edition. This is what I love about shopping in CEX. Yes, sometimes you can get some bad deals and some bad condition retro. When you get games like this for £5, it's an absolute steal. Next up, we have another absolute retro banger for just £10, James Pond 2 Robocod. I absolutely love this franchise. I always played this back on a day on the Master System and the Mega Drive, but let me know in the comments down below if you played this one on the Amiga. And again, for £10 for good condition, complete retro, it's just an amazing deal from CX. Our final pickup is a Mega Drive game, Dynamite Headdy. Again, a bargain at £12. It just goes to show, even in 2023, you can get some absolutely amazing retro bargains in CX. And it's all about that condition again, like I said. Check it out. Boxed, complete, with an absolutely minty manual for just £12. It's just the kind of thing you love to see in CX. But even when it's absolutely amazing cheap retro bangers, this could be not only the best pickup from Bangor, but the best pickup of my entire Wales trip. This is the Alone in the Dark limited edition for the Wii, and this is in absolutely amazing condition. And for £6 for a special edition, this is an absolute bargain, and I think one which is only going to go up in value with the reboot of Alone in the Dark on the horizon. And as I said, condition is everything, and this is in absolutely amazing condition. This was actually traded in by one of the staff members in that CX store, and the quality of this is just absolutely amazing. I'll take this bit out here, and you will see it's complete. It has the statue. I knew I was going to try and fall out. The statue there, as well as, of course, a copy of the game, which with special editions nowadays is a bit of a rarity. It is still sealed, and for £6, this is an absolute steal. Our last stop this time was in Rhyl, and the beach there was absolutely amazing, even if it was one of the windiest places I've ever been. But more importantly, their CEX store had one of the best selections of Xbox 360 games I've ever seen. There are some games there that you just do not see every day, and these are the kind of games you need to pick up now. These games are at a decent price, but in the next few years, I genuinely think the Xbox 360 market is going to go absolutely crazy, and I know a lot of my fellow YouTubers have said this before. I know Callum on the Retro Ghetto has mentioned this game multiple times, Blood Drive for the Xbox 360. This looks absolutely awesome. This is a game I've bought off his recommendation. It looks to me like kind of Twisted Metal, but for the Xbox. This looks absolutely awesome, and at £6 at the minute, or £5 for the copyright reprinted cover, which I'm never going to buy, I think this is an absolute bargain, and one that's only going to get more expensive in years to come. I want to go on record now and say I absolutely love Telltale Games. They are a developer that I will miss so much, and I just have such vivid memories of some of their absolutely amazing games. There's not been a game developer since that just tells such amazing stories, and stories you just feel a part of. And this is a game which I haven't played the full game of. I think I played the first episode back in the day on PC. This is the Back to the Future game for the Xbox 360. And this is the kind of game which I think you need to pick up now. I don't think this is available digitally anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. Yes, it is a £20 Xbox 360 game, but these are the kind of Xbox 360 games you want to pick up now. This game is £20 now, but this is a rare game, and this is only going to go up in value and only going to get more and more desirable. So I would recommend, if you see this one, it's very rare. There's very few copies around the UK, but if you see it, pick it up now. I've been trying to find this cheap PlayStation 5 banger, and I finally managed to find it in my local CX store here in the fine city of Norwich. And for my money, this is one of the best value games you can pick up if you own a PlayStation 5. It is Back 4 Blood for just £4. I think this is an absolute bargain. Yes, it might not have reached the heady levels of Left 4 Dead 2, but for £4, I kind of challenge you to find a better game for this generation for the value of £4. This is an absolutely amazing game in co-op. Yes, you can play it with bots, but to go online and play this with a couple of friends or a couple of randoms for the absolute zombie, gore, gun-filled chaos for £4 is an absolute certified banger. There we have it then, folks. That was another episode of the crazy world of CX. And I want to emphasise world. Yes, I know there are hundreds of CX stores all around the world. This may have been the first time we have left England in our search, but this won't be the last time. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe, and who knows if I'll be visiting your local CX store next time in the crazy world of CX. See you all soon!